We want to bring in Mark Walsh, who's a freelancer for Fox. You live just a few blocks away and witnessed.
Dude, I live on the 43rd floor of a building which is 5 blocks from the World Trade Center itself. I witnessed the entire thing from beginning to end. People
talk about how it looked like a movie. I know when I came walking down here early this morning and saw both towers on fire and people on every street corner, it was like a movie. But you watched the planes hit the towers.
I was watching with my roommate. It was approximately several minutes after the first plane had hit.
If you're just joining us this morning, you're in for a horrific surprise.
The scene here is just one right out of one of the movies you would see in Hollywood. People walking around.
Hold on just 1 minute.
All right, we just want to update you in case you have not heard, just turning on and don't know what you're looking at. This is not a made-for-TV movie. This is the real thing. On the left, black billowing smoke from the Pentagon. On the right, billowing smoke from the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in New York.
God, I heard stuff from him I didn't think I'd ever hear in my career, ever. The frantic hauling and the traffic calls, traffic 2 o'clock, 10 miles. I think he's been hijacked. I don't know his intentions. Take any evasive action necessary. That's something you hear in the movies, not on the job.
Around to really think of as completely real. Again, when you were watching the whole tower collapse, it was an almost movie-like quality. It didn't simply shear off and fall apart. There was no real explosion. It was literally it just seemed to shake into millions of little small pieces.
Reels is at National Airport by phone. Gary, what's going on there?
Well, Andrea, it is, I hate to use the cliche, but it is truly a scene out of a movie here. The dark, acrid smoke wafting over from the Pentagon has shrouded the terminal area here at National Airport lightly, not a dense fog here at the airport, but a light fog nonetheless.
Let's go, get off the corners, let's go! Like something out of the Tower Inferno, like a movie.
It is so hard to believe that this is something that's actually happening. It looks like some type of action thriller movie.
It is surreal.
Not reality.
It is surreal. I mean, you talk about the World Trade Center.
I stood in the building for a couple of seconds, and then all of a sudden the building started filling up with smoke. I was with a bunch of law enforcement officers. We couldn't get out of the building because everything was locked up. And then I came out, and everything was filled with ash, and it looks like I'm in a surreal movie.
Do you know if it was an explosion or if it was a building collapse?
To me, it sounded like an explosion.
Reached them, and see, here it comes now.
Look at that. That's just unbelievable.
It almost, you know, if you were watching this in a movie theater, you would think this was totally unreal.
This is some horror film or some disaster film that, unfortunately for us, is not a film. It's the real thing.
And right now, we're doing the best we can.
Can you just give us a brief description of what it looks like down there?
It looks like Vietnam. I wouldn't kid you, I wouldn't lie. If they would say Vietnam, that's what it looks like. It looks that devastating. It looks like a movie set. There's something it's unbelievable.
Now, are they taking some of the victims out?
Right now, we have took out.
Site is just absolutely, it looks like something from a movie where a digital effect has obliterated those Twin Towers of the World Trade Center, except unfortunately, this is all too real.
Too mild a word.
Okay.
It's absolutely just a horrible, horrible sight. It reminds you of the worst kind of effects in movies that, you know, you're reassured watching a movie that it's an effect, but this is not.
Well, Mark, you and I were supposed to have a meeting not long from now.
It looks like one tower.
It looks like a movie, frankly, that this is unfolding, and it combines the horror of the TWA Flight 800 bombing and the Murrah Federal Building, because it's both of these incidents, of course, coming together in the most horrific way.
Firefighter John Schroeder arrived in the lobby of the North Tower shortly after the first plane struck.
So we're standing there in the lobby, we're getting all together. All of a sudden, we hear... I look down to my right, and the elevators exploded, something out of like a Bruce Willis Die Hard movie. People just come running out of the elevators, on fire, fireball. I mean, it was like, what is going on here? Something's up here. I mean, the plane's up there, now there's fire down here. people run around all on fire. This is crazy.
For the past couple of minutes, it has been clear from this space back on Chambers in that area. So now they're walking back toward the World Trade Center. And as we keep letting you hear the personal stories, the survivor stories of exactly what happened inside the World Trade Center when that first plane went in, and of course the collapses since then, we're going to bring more of those to you now. Barry Jennings, you were on the 8th floor. You work for the City Housing Department. Explain to me the moment of impact.
Well, me and Mr. Hesh, the Corporation Counsel, were on the 23rd floor. I told him we got to get out of here. We started walking down the stairs. We made it to the 8th floor. Big explosion. Blew us back into the 8th floor. And I turned to Hesh. I said, this is it. We're dead. We're not going to make it out of here. I took a fire extinguisher and I bust the window out. That's when this gentleman here heard my cries for help. This gentleman right here, and he kept saying, stand by, somebody's coming to get you. They couldn't get to us for an hour because they couldn't find us.
You thought that was it?
I thought we're dead. I thought that was it. I started praying to Allah. I said, that's it. We're gone. It's over.
What was it like for you? You were inside there as well.
It was pandemonium. I mean, it was something like out of a Bruce Willis Die Hard movie. He was there and he was crying, and there was another gentleman crying and for help.
And as the building was collapsing, you have 110 stories of building. In between each floor is a lot of air. So as each floor is coming down, it's pushing air out horizontally under tremendous pressure. Well, the air caught the back of my helmet as I was running, and I saw my helmet fly through the air in front of me. It was just flying through the air, like the Wizard of Oz almost. And next thing I know, the air pressure lifted me off of the ground.
And people thought it was a movie. You know, it was unreal. We were so stunned. Nobody believed that this was for real.
Who narrowly escaped death. They were working outside right next to the North Tower when the first plane struck.
That's not real. It was a scene out of a movie. The people running from downtown, running up the streets, no shoes on their feet. Some people had their shirts were ripped off.
The whole scene itself was unbelievable. You couldn't really describe it. It seemed almost like something that was shot out of a movie, something that wasn't real.
It was difficult to breathe 2 blocks away. And as you worked your way towards West Street, it was out of the movies. This was a movie set. This couldn't be for real.